Hi guys, this is Eternal from Dream Bubble Cosplay, and this is the first video in my cosplay how-to series. And I decided, why not start it off with possibly the hardest wig project that I could ever do, Eridan Ampora from Homestuck. I think everyone has problems with Eridan's wig, and I have no exception. I have already made one. I made this probably about a year ago. It's really sucky, and so that's why I'm making a new one with my new acquired knowledge about wigs. So I figured, why not start off this series by doing that. So let's just hop right into this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy it.
The things you are going to need for this project are a base wig. I ordered this one as my new Terezi wig, but I didn't really like how it looked. It didn't quite have the right amount of flip in the right places, so I decided that this one was going to become Eridan. It's always a really smart idea to pin your wig to your wig head once you have it positioned the way that you want it. That way it doesn't go sliding around while you're working. I would usually put a pin up at the top, but since we're working with the top of this wig, I put one pin on each side. They've hidden in the hair at this point, and I don't know where they are, but they are here. You may also want to have a hairbrush. I didn't actually use mine, but it's good to have just in case. You also need some sharp scissors. Those are just sewing scissors that I have, kind of dull, but they do the job. You also need hair thinning scissors. These are very important. You also need hairspray. I like the Got To Be Glued hairspray. Don't get the gel that goes with it. It really sucks and you'll regret it. You're also going to need a water bottle full of water, just plain water set to mist. And you're also going to need purple hair for that stupid fucking streak Eridan has in his hair. Don't get a bang clip. That's what I used on our original Eridan wig, and it was really hard to work with and just looked all puffy and unnatural and just really eh. So I just got a really long purple wig, and we're going to use that. It'll give us a little more control over how the purple streak looks. It's also a really good idea to have a reference image for whatever you're making, in this case Eridan's wig. I have a picture somewhere on my phone, but I actually didn't need it until like the very end when I was positioning the streak, but it's always good to have it handy just in case you need it. You're also going to need bobby pins. Don't be me and almost forget these. They are crazy important. And without further ado, let's begin this project. The first thing that you're going to want to do is separate how much of the bangs you want to slick back for Eridan's purple streak. I chose pretty much the entire bangs, but it's up to your personal preference. You can make it as thin or as thick as you want it to be. Just make sure that you like how it looks and that your wig is straight on the wig head. You don't want to end up having a lopsided wig because your wig was lopsided on the wig head. That can be a real problem, so be careful. And once you have a streak placement that you like, you're gonna just bobby pin back the sides of the hair to keep them out of your way while you are working. And now that our bangs are all pinned back, we're gonna trim the back of this wig. Since I originally intended for it to be used as Terezi, it's kinda long in the back. So we're gonna take our thinning scissors and shorten it up while still keeping the layers. This part is really tedious, and you're gonna get sick of it, and you're gonna have hair all over you. But you should still take your time with this and use the thinning scissors so that it looks like a natural haircut. Take breaks if you have to. If you absolutely must, you can use your regular scissors to cut away the bottom parts, and then finish up with your thinning scissors so that it looks natural. Only do this, however, if you really trust that you can do it without fucking up. Using thinning scissors is sort of like a slow and steady wins the race thing, because they only remove a small amount of hair at a time to create layers. Also, there is pretty much no avoiding getting hair all over yourself and literally everywhere. It's just gonna happen. But try to keep all the hair in one small little pile somewhere so that at least it's a little easier to clean up later on. While I don't have access to one, it might be a good idea to get a suction cup wig stand so that you can attach it to your work surface so that your wig isn't falling over while you're trying to work. Alright, now I have finished trimming the wig shorter. You can see that I kept the layers in the back and also added some at the top. It's kind of sticking out a little bit, but once we hairspray it and slick it back into Eridan's hipster hairstyle, it's gonna look absolutely fine. Now what I'm gonna do is take small sections of hair at a time and gel them back. This is a little bit hard to do with a wig without showing the netting at the front, but with care it can be done. Don't cut the bangs off, even though this might seem simpler, because it will make the purple hair stick out. Just slick everything back. I'm gonna trim the bangs a little bit just to make them a bit easier to work with. Hairspray wasn't really holding the bangs back like I was hoping it would, so I opted for using super glue. This is a really messy idea, and I dropped the container and spilled it everywhere like at least twice, but it does work. I wouldn't really recommend it though if you intend for the glued hair to be seen, but since we just wanted to slick back the black part so that we could cover it with the purple hair, this worked absolutely fine. Just be careful. You're definitely going to end up with some kinks and tangles and strange loops in the hair because of the super glue drying before you can get the hair into place. And sometimes it's better to just cut them and then really glue down the remnants instead of trying to pull the glued hair apart. But you can try if you really want to, but it usually just makes more of a mess than there was before. Alright, now we have our bangs all glued back, and I am thoroughly covered in super glue. Before we move on to the next step, we want to let this entirely dry. I'd say 10 to 20 minutes just to be sure. So go take a break, grab a drink, wash your hands, do whatever, and just make sure that your glue is entirely dry before you move on. The next step is to cut out the purple hair for the streak. I'm just using a regular long purple wig that's not really showing up purple on my camera, and I'm just gonna cut strands out of that and glue them onto the inside of the wig. I would say to cut off maybe 2 to 3 inches more than you think you need, just so that you have some leeway to work with. It's always better to have more than to not have enough. Now that we have all of our purple hair cut out, we're going to take our wig off of the wig head and set it down with the net facing upwards so that we can get at the netting just underneath the bangs. Using hot glue or some other really strong glue, we're going to glue the purple hair there in small sections at a time. This can be very slow going, especially if you're using hot glue, so just take your time, be patient, and take breaks if you have to. Just make sure that you're getting enough hair in there to cover the black bangs so that it doesn't look all streaky and weird. Also be sure to put glue both under and over the purple hairs. That way they are held in extra securely. It's also a good idea to trim the excess hair inside of the wig. That way it's not uncomfortable to wear. It's also a good idea to remove mischievous cats from your work area. Otherwise you're going to end up like me with a curious kitty cat sitting on the back of your chair trying to figure out what you're doing. By the time you have all of your purple hair glued into your wig, it is going to look utterly ridiculous. But regardless, the next thing you're going to want to do is take small sections at a time again and glue them just at the top of the bangs to help hold them back. It's also a good idea to use some hairspray during this step as well, just to give the hair a little extra stability. Also be sure that none of the glue shows on top of the hair. You only want a little bit of glue to help hold the hair back. Once your purple hair is glued back, you're probably going to realize that it's longer than you really want it to be. So just take your thinning scissors and slowly trim it until it's the length that you want it. After all of your purple hair is the length that you want it to be, You're going to use your hands to form it into the shape that you want, and then use a hell of a lot of hairspray to hold it into place. I decided not to do the little curl that Eridan has on the left side of his bangs, because I knew that it was never going to stay in place and would probably look really ridiculous. So I moved on to doing some last minute trimming to the rest of the hair so that it would be just the right length. After my trimming was done, I took my hairspray and started working on slicking back the back of the wig. Depending on how your layers are, you might have to hold some hair in place until the hairspray dries. My layers were kind of going out to the side a little bit, so I had to hold them down a lot so that they would go back instead of out. And that's just about it for making Eridan Ampora's wig. My camera isn't really showing the details of the hair very well, so I'm going to put in some pictures that I took with my phone to better show you the details. And here we have the old Eridan wig on the left compared to the new one on the right. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.